Did you know that your dog is constantly keeping score? Not of what you teach them, but how you actually show up every single day. And what if that score is the reason that things either feel easy or they feel like a constant struggle? That's right. It is my 200th episode. And as my 200th episode, I wanted to give a little shout out and a little nod to the dogs that taught me all about leadership and the leadership scorecard. Let's get into it. Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it. Hey there, friend. It is Tracy, and if you know, you know, but there is an online program that you can do right now. And I'm going to say right now it feels like an escape from everything that is going on in the world. It is a way for you to stop all the craziness, stop all the madness, and just get out in the world and learn more about your dog. It is the study of dogs by studying your dog. And it is amazing. Come and join us over in the Fearless Framework, my 12-month online program where you're going to learn everything that you need to make life easy with your dog. It's not about more drills, more training. It's not about the tools or the techniques. It is literally about learning how to show up and be the person worth following. So if you like that kind of thing, be sure to go over there, and I will put all the links in the show notes and ways that you can work with me. I'll see you there. Well, hello, my dog-loving friend. It is Tracy. Welcome to Beyond Obedience, the podcast. Can you believe it? This episode, my friend, is in fact our 200th episode. What? Yes, 200 episodes. That doesn't even seem real to me. Gosh, we've done it, you and I. We're amazing. Look at how much we've done. Thank you so much for being here. And if you're brand new, if you're jumping in on the 200th episode, you are in for a good one because we're going all the way back. We're going back to episode number 1. In a way. Episode number 1 was actually the greatest lesson I ever learned from one of the greatest dogs I ever owned. And I shouldn't say owned. I don't like the word owned. The greatest dog that I ever shared an experience with. Anyway, his name was Wellington Gray Bear. And if you have had a chance to come over to any of my workshops or been to the boot camp, you know all about the brilliance of Wellington and everything that he taught me. Wellington taught me more about dogs than any class or course or anything. And I was so honored that I was allowed to be a part. Basically, I was honored that he invited me into his world because that's really what it was about. And here we are, 200 episodes later, and I'm going to swing all the way back full circle. I'm going to talk about this idea that I had, that I've been talking about for years. And the idea is called the leadership scorecard. Now, admittingly, when I first came out with this, I don't know how many years ago, the video still exists somewhere of me walking around the arena back when I lived in Ontario and I had my brick and mortar business and I was running daycare and boarding and training and doing all the things. And I would do these like Tuesday training tips or something or training tip Tuesday. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is used to do these videos. And I spoke about this thing about the leadership scorecard, and I was surprised how well it was received. And I think it's because we as humans like to have something tangible, something that we can, keep score. We like to keep score of things. And are we winning? Am I winning? Am I winning or losing? What am I doing? So the scorecard kind of came out and people really, really liked it. And so if you haven't heard of it, basically it was very, very simple. Every single time you do something for your dog, you're going to ask yourself, was that my idea and the dog followed through? Or was it the dog's idea and I followed through? If it was your idea and the dog followed through, then you score a point. And if it was the dog's idea and you followed through, then the dog scores a point. And usually, especially when I was sitting in the office doing like an in-person consult and I would tell people about it, you would see inevitably people look up and then their face would kind of drop as they were starting to calculate all the things that they do for their dog. And you'd see them kind of look back at me and be like, uh-oh. And I'm like, I know, it's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. This is just an exercise in awareness. This is not, this isn't like you get all the points and I get none. Like, that's not what it's about. It literally is just an exercise in awareness. And the reason for it is because I believe that this leadership, this fictional leadership scorecard, if you will, comes into play only when you need it. Only when you need it. In those moments in your dog's life when you're asking them to make a choice, and that choice is follow your instinct and chase the squirrel or come back when you're called. That's when the scorecard will come out. And if your dog is, routinely higher in leadership points than you are, they're not as likely to choose you. They're just not as likely to choose you. But the other ways that it comes out too, especially for us that have less confident dogs or reactive dogs, is that when we want to influence their behavior, when we want to step into a situation and we say, I've got this, that's when that scorecard will come out. Because the dog isn't going to believe you. If the dog has been running circles around you all day and you've been getting up and doing all these things and you haven't really been showing them in the way that you show up in their life that you have what it takes in other aspects of their life, they're not going to believe you in the moments that you need them to. You're not going to be able to influence their behavior the way that you want to if during everyday life you just kind of let them be and do what they want without giving them a little bit of that leadership quality back. And I will tell you this, if you have multiple dogs, shout out to my multi-dog households. If you're someone that has multiple dogs, trust me when I say this leadership scorecard concept gets a lot more juicy because not only does the dog you're currently talking to or dealing with see that, but the other dogs watching you also see that. They see if you let that dog get away with stuff. They see if that dog pushes into your space and you move over. They see all of those things. And all of that adds up into little columns of, do you have what it takes? Now, back in the day, I called it leadership, which of course, I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know because it was before I really got involved in training and then got lambasted about the whole word of leadership. But I think what is important to recognize here is that it literally has to do with how you're showing up. Do you have what it takes? Are you the person that has what it takes? And think about this, especially if you're someone that's currently working on building trust. Let's say you have a fearful dog. Let's say you have a reactive dog and you do that thing where, because I quite often will tell people, you need to be in the conversation, which means your dog has to be slightly behind you. And all the time, people will say, how do I do that? My dog doesn't stay behind me. My dog doesn't stay behind me. You know why your dog doesn't stay behind you? Because they don't believe you have what it takes to take care of the situation. Yet. Put that word out there. Yet. You got to keep working on it, friend. And that's why I say to you, when we talk about working on reactivity, we don't do that in the moment of reactivity. That's not where you're working on reactivity. When you're in the moment, when you're in the moment of reactivity, you're not working on reactivity, you're managing reactivity. That's different. You're working on reactivity when you are in the house and your dog is quiet, or your dog gets up on the couch beside you and you move over and your dog says, "Oh, I'll take that space." You're working on reactivity when you get up in the morning and your dog follows you all over the place and you say, "Stay where you are," but then they follow you and you go, "Ugh, don't worry about it. I'll just, whatever. Too tired to deal with that." You're working on reactivity then. You're working on reactivity in all of the areas of your life before and after reactivity, but not during reactivity. During reactivity, you're just managing reactivity. Right? So we want to start being aware, and that's where the leadership scorecard comes in. Now, admittingly, again, because I didn't know what I didn't know back in the day, we're all learning, friends. It's a journey. We're all on this journey together. But what I didn't know, or what I hadn't really, let me say I didn't know, I hadn't really formulated in my mind. But a lot of people thought that meant obedience because, we're all trained to believe that is the answer to everything. Teach a dog to sit. That will help them with reactivity. Said no one ever. Not on this podcast anyway. But what people would think was that, okay, obviously then I need to ask my dog to do things, right? I need to train my dog. That way, I can say when I asked my dog to sit, they sat, therefore I got the leadership point. And I realized because I am someone who doesn't do that, right? I don't do obedience. I don't do a lot of quote unquote training. So my dogs I don't have that luxury, if you will, of being like, I'm going to gain a whole bunch of leadership points because I taught my dogs how to do the things. And guess what? It doesn't matter. And that got me to thinking leadership scorecard doesn't mean that you can gain those leadership points by simply doing obedience. And here's why. Here's the nuance of it. Here's why. Most times, when we are teaching a dog a behavior, it is usually a transactional thing. We teach a dog, if you do this thing that I say, I'm going to give you this reward. I'm going to give you this treat. I'm going to give you whatever. And it becomes transactional. That's not really the same thing because a lot of dogs are doing it on the off chance that they might get that cookie. So you're not really getting the actual leadership. And this is where Wellington comes in. Wellington was the one that taught me what true leadership was. Wellington, the dog, taught me what leadership was because I never saw Wellington give another dog a cookie. Like, I never saw him do that. I never saw him be like, go over there and mind your business and then toss them a cookie. He never did that. And so by observing dogs and how they move through space and how they do things and understanding how they move through space and what angles mean to them and what speed means to them and what transitions mean to them and all of the things that I have been learning, that's where the leadership piece actually comes in. And if leadership makes you uncomfortable, the word leadership makes you uncomfortable, call it something else. But at the end of the day, dogs are doing this all the time. And this is the kind of the kicker about the leadership scorecard. And I used to say this to people because I would have people come up in my comments and be like, you're like a horrible human being because you said the word leadership. I'm not actually joking, by the way. That is the kind of garbage that happened in social media. So many people are like, I liked what you were saying until I heard you say leadership. And now I realize that you're just an idiot. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's how you feel. But what I came to realize was that even if you don't want to believe me, and you don't have to believe me if you don't want to, that's fine. Even if you don't want to believe me, though, your dog is playing the game without you. Like you don't have to play the leadership scorecard game if you don't want to, but your dog is, because that's how they do. It's just who they are. They start this game very, very early on, right when they're little puppies and they're starting to play with one another. And let's say one puppy sort of jumps at another puppy and the first puppy jumps back. That puppy learns, okay, if I take space from you, I win. I win that point. I got you to move your feet. And similarly, if let's say a puppy desires to play with another puppy and they go up and they play bow and they do all this stuff and then they run away and they get the first puppy to chase them, they got what they wanted. They got that other puppy to move their feet. They are testing and tweaking this all the time. That's what they're doing. And the thing is that they'll do the same thing to us. Keep in mind, dogs only know how to be dogs. So when they jump into your space and you back up, they think they won that point. They got you to move your feet. They won that point. So whether or not you're playing the game or not doesn't matter, because your dog is playing it. And I used to laugh because people would fight me on it because of the word leadership. And I'm like, that's what I mean to say. That's why I gave up with the whole training wars. You guys go and fight amongst yourself if you want to. I'm just going to stay over here. I'm going to keep asking my dogs, observing my dogs, learning more and more about dogs. And you can talk about training until you're blue in the face. And I'll just go over here. Okay, so the idea here is that your dog is doing it anyway, right? And so your dog is scoring points based on how you show up. They're not judging it, they're just observing it, and they're learning and they're adapting. That's what they do. That's who they are. And your dog is constantly gathering information about you. They're also gathering things like, are you predictable? Are you clear? Are you safe? Are you consistent? The reality of it is every interaction is a data point. How you respond, how you move, how you handle stress, all of that factors in to how they perceive you and your ability to partner with them in survival. Okay, we think that leadership is the things that we say. We rate it that way. We rate it like obedience. We say, I have a well-trained dog if I say words and they do this thing. Dogs look at people and think, do I have a partner in survival? And those two things they're not the same. How you view your dog being trained and how your dog views you as a partner in survival can be two completely separate things. Your dog experiences leadership with what you do, not with what you say. And that is really, really important. I've met a ton of well-trained dogs that still don't trust their owners. That is a thing that exists all the time. See, early on, when I first started this, I used to, people used to think, well, I can do all the obedience stuff. And I would be like, that's actually not the thing that's working for me. That's not, because it's not what I was doing. I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing a lot of obedience. And yet my dog still believed me when I said, I got this. They believed me when I said, hey, you need to get behind me, right? Because I don't trust this dog. They believed me because of the way that I moved through the world with them, the things that I did, showing up the way that I did. Okay. So dogs are also scoring your clarity. They're scoring your follow through. They're also scoring, and this part's hard, they're scoring your emotional stability. And they're scoring your fairness. Now look at, when I say fairness and clarity means, like, fairness is there's rules in Humansville, obviously. Those are the rules that we need to teach our dogs. There's rules in Humansville. But there's also rules in the dog's world. There are rules. So we need to be fluent in both. We need to understand fairness in both. So instead of asking things like, why isn't my dog listening? What instead if you asked, what am I showing my dog about me? Because your dog just isn't learning commands. They're learning who you are, friend. They're learning everything about you. And that's where the real shift is. So if you can actually embrace this idea, this is where the most change will be. And again, you have to be understanding that this takes time. And it's not quite as flashy as obedience, right? Having a dog learn to trust you is not as quick and easy as teaching a dog to sit. But you can get there. And when you get there, everything else gets easier. And if you need help getting there, if you're like, I would like to take this journey, I encourage you to join us over in the Fearless Framework. That is my 12-month online program. It's for dog lovers, who want to go, I don't know, beyond obedience. Winky face. So clever I am. Anyway, that option is always available to you. You can go to beyondobedience.ca/fearless to join us over there. 12 months online, hanging out with me. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? I don't know. All right, listen, my friends, I just want to take a moment to thank you. Thank you for 200 amazing episodes, hanging out with you, learning together, sharing together. Here's to 200 more. Why not? What would be the next milestone? I guess 300. I guess 300 the next milestone. I don't know. We should do something fun though. Wish I had thought about this more. Should have done something fun. Like, yay. Oh, you know what? Here, we'll just cheer it. We'll just add some laughter. That'll make it fun. It's fun now. Canned laughter. We're bringing out all the stops today. All right, listen, my friend, I got to get going. I got dogs to walk. It's a beautiful day, so I got to get out there. So listen, my friend, if you like this kind of thing, be sure to head on over to Apple, leave a 5-star written review. It really helps push the podcast out to more and more people. Follow me on Spotify. Come over to the Living Beyond Obedience group. Hang out with me over there. That's free on Facebook. And as always, my dog-loving friend, get out there today, and be the person that your dog thinks you are. Because your dog thinks that you're amazing, and so do I. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only. It's not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you're really struggling with your dog, please reach out to a professional in your area. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.